here's why moving out of Florida in my 20s was the best decision I've ever made. So, hey, what's up, guys? I'm a 25-year-old dude that's been trying to get ahead in life, try to hit, financial freedom, do the things that, I think hopefully we all want to do is just like be able to be a free individual. And what do I mean by that? Like buying a house and, just stacking bread and having a good life, feeling fulfilled, having time to actually do stuff you want to do. So I'm going to explain why I moved out of Florida, why I think Florida kind of sucks if you're a young guy. And I want to say the big main point is you're competing with boomers. Hear me out. So what's happening is you have all these boomers that have been saving up, contributing to their 401k for 30 years, yada, 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 right? They're contributing. They have all this money. They go to Florida to retire. They go to buy a house. All of the house prices in Florida are insane, from what I've seen, unless you live in, like, the sticks in Florida. I'm talking more of, like, Central Florida and I guess you could say by the coast. Like, some coastal cities are somewhat affordable, but the insurance is crazy. That's a whole other topic. But essentially, there's a few reasons why Florida is really bad if you're a young guy trying to get ahead. For one is if you decide to move out and rent, the rent prices are absolutely insane. The other point is you're competing with boomers. There's all these boomers that have like these established businesses that you can't even really do anything about. So I'll give you an example. So like I know not everybody wants to own a business, but like if you're a guy that's trying to get ahead, you're probably going to run some or be involved in some type of business. The problem is in Florida is the boomers kind of already have everything established there. What do I mean by that? So essentially, like, let's say you want to open up a trading card store, right? And then the rent is insane. It's like $4 or $5 a month. That's going to be really hard to break even, just to break even for your business. But if you move into a state like Kentucky, Indiana, Mississippi, your rent's going to be a lot lower. It's less competitive. There's less people that have money that are there. If that makes sense. You're going to a market that could be pretty good, like traffic-wise, but the problem is the rent's just too freaking high. The rent on housing's too high. The rent if you have a business is really high. The insurance is crazy. Another thing too is you would think, okay, with Florida they have, you have Disney, you have the beach. Like, this is a great place to be. It's sunny. Well, I've definitely noticed, and I've talked to a lot of mail carriers throughout the year, and they're saying it's only getting hotter. I think global warming has definitely had a huge impact on just how hot it is in Florida, because I remember years back it was not nearly as hot as it is now. And I think that's one, and you guys might be laughing about this, but like if you're a young dude working these manual labor jobs outside, like there are been people who have died because they were out in the sun and it was just too freaking hot. So if you're a young guy trying to get ahead, working, 40 hours a week at UPS and then having a job on the side, it's definitely going to affect your health just being out in the sun, right? Just being out in that really, intense sun all day. I know that's kind of like another side point, but there's a lot of different reasons why Florida's not the best place if you're a young person. It's just not. It's just not. Another thing too is people say, "Oh, I want to live in Florida because of the beach. The beach is amazing. I love the beach. The beach is the best thing in the world." So I went to the beach. You can't go in the water anymore. I put my just feet in the beach, and then I had bacteria all over my feet. I got sick for a few days. I had to basically go to like an urgent care to like take medicine to get rid of this just by going in the water. I didn't even do much. I literally dipped my feet in the water. I talked to another woman that went to a beach in Florida, and she said she did not even go in the water, but she got an ear infection by just the breeze of basically like the water, and then there's the breeze, and the breeze went into her ear, and she got an ear infection. Wild. So the water's toxic. You can't even enjoy the beach. Disney World's packed. If you guys have whatever. Disney's packed. So if you go to Disney, it's massively packed. So that's the thing too, is you can't even enjoy Disney. And then it's like, oh, okay, let's go to the other things in Florida. I don't know what it is, but since COVID, like all of the businesses that I would normally go to in Florida that would stay open to like 9, 10 p.m., they're like closed at 6 p.m. So that's the thing is like if you have a 9 to 5 job where you're 9 a.m., 5 p.m., you have like maybe 10 minutes to go to a place that you want to go to with your buddies. Like that's another thing too, right? You just can't even do what you want to do. The traffic is insane. There was, and I've noticed this over the years, it's gotten real bad. So like there was a drive that used to take me 15 minutes. It was great. I could go to the store, take 15 minutes, come back. That drive now, 5 years later, takes 35 minutes to do just because of the traffic. And like I had this thing where it's like, well, if I'm leaving the house, I'm basically giving up at least 2 to 3 hours of my life because the traffic was just insane. You have to kind of batch do everything at one time because the traffic's just insane, and there's more and more, and there's just more people. It's hyper competitive, and I think a hyper competitive environment as a young guy is a very good thing, and I'm very glad that I had the experience of being in Florida. But it's just exhausting. After a while, it's very exhausting. I don't know a single person that was my age that actually got ahead that didn't have daddy's money. Like everybody that I knew that was well off in Florida, they had parents that would like be a safety net for them. Like I knew people where like their parents paid their rent. That's crazy. That is an insane situation. I feel like pretty much nobody should be in that situation ever. That is insane. You're trying to be an independent adult and then your parents are paying your rent for you. Absolutely bonkers. So, and I know everybody's situation's different, but if you're a guy that, didn't have a large inheritance or whatever, and then you're just trying to navigate life, I think living in Florida is one of the worst states to be in purely for the cost of living. And people say, oh, there's other benefits. And as somebody that has traveled outside of Florida and went to other states like Kentucky, Tennessee, South Carolina, North Carolina, Indiana, Illinois, like all these other states, I can single-handedly tell you Florida's terrible as a young guy. There's so much opportunity in these other states. When you're a young guy in Florida, like I said, there are some exceptions. If you land a really good job and, you have to be in Florida, that's a different story. But if you don't have anything crazy going on and you want to have some independence and you want to, pursue your dreams, I think Florida is more of an end game state, not a beginning game state. And it's kind of nice to see like some of these old people that have a ton of money in Florida, because it is a little inspiring, but it's also like, man, did they, because you don't know other people's situations, but essentially I think Florida's more of a end game state per se, where you go there when you're going to retire. But if you're there like a young guy just trying to live, I think it's the worst thing ever. You got to move to a different state. It's kind of like how people live in California and they just they grew up in California and they just stay there, even though it's obviously only gotten worse. It's like, yeah, just move. And I know that hurts because you might have family there. But the thing is, like, once you realize, okay, these other states have opportunity, it kind of opens up a whole world for you of opportunity that you never had before. And then your life in general is just way chiller. Like your life is just a lot more relaxing. You can actually have time. And that was I would say that's like the last point is, if you're in Florida, you really don't have time because you're so pressed on money that you can't do anything. You just work. You can't do anything at all that you want to do. You can't even have some chill time at like a park or whatever. Like you can't go play pickleball, right? You can't really do much. And then in the little time that you do have, you're stressed because you're wondering, okay, is somebody going to take my job? Am I going to, lose my job because it's hyper competitive here? Is my rent going to increase? It's insane. It is an insane environment as a young guy. So, I'm not telling you guys what to do with your life, but from personal experience and from other people that are around my age, the 20 to 25-year-old, even 28-year-old kind of dudes, we've all had the same experience. The only people that I know in Florida they either, like, they had daddy's money and they're renting somewhere. They worked really hard, like insanely hard. Since the age of like 17, they've worked like 2+ jobs full time, and they somehow scraped just enough to get ahead. Or, and that's a very rare scenario. And they have a significant other that worked just as hard too. Or, like, they're they just got set up from their parents, and their parents like has this thing that makes money, and then they got put onto that. Like, there's really no other scenarios I've seen. And for like the average guy, I'm not talking about, everybody here. I'm talking about the average guy. I think the average guy should definitely move out of Florida, for sure. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you guys like videos like this, definitely let me know. We're trying to get more fit, have a little chicken and rice here, but I just wanted to go on a little rant because I really feel for a lot of these guys, and it's definitely, Florida's pretty insane.